call the meeting to order, the Griggs County Commission. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What? That's why I put it in your care, because if otherwise, by this time, we'd be all gone.
The council one, that's about 3 days.
Dale's the keeper of the candy.
Yeah, just like.
Okay, roll call. John
Here.
Wakefield, Dale Peterson,
Here.
Ron Hall,
Here.
John Steffen, Troy's here. Okay, agenda. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I have some additions. I have a new employee. Update on the surge bill.
I think that's in here, isn't it?
Surge bill in there.
I didn't see it, I don't think.
No, that goes on email, is what it was.
Oh,
Email.
just an email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Project planning for the RFP. And then I was looking over the levy sheet for 2014, and it says in FAR there's 10 males allowed, and it should have been 20.
So late now.
Yeah. I thought we did that right. I thought we did it right. But I thought we
One
did
of those,
20
the
mils.
sheets is in your
I
packet.
think you did. I mean, it says so in the
Oh, okay. Well,
budget. It says 325.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
This is
later.
the sheet that you were looking for. Off page 13.
You just want to put those in
Just into my time of hopefully.
for weighing this. Okay. Anything else?
I'll move to approve the agenda with the additions.
Been moved by Sean to approve the agenda as amended. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of the February 6th board meeting minutes. Anybody have any additions or corrections to the minutes from the February 6th meeting?
typo on, says St. Lexus had a contract, isn't it St. Alexis?
Didn't even see that. Last page.
Page
Yeah.
4. Missing
Alexis,
a, yeah.
Saint Alexis.
Alexis. Okay.
Anything else?
I move to approve the minutes as presented and dispense with reading.
As corrected.
That too.
It's been moved by Dale to approve the meeting minutes as corrected and dispense with the reading.
I'll second that.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Vouchers.
I got one.
You mean the Cornerstone Community Church is actually wants $10,000 to rent those dehumidifiers? Or are we buying them?
It must have mistakenly, should have been sent to the building authority, but yeah, it would buy them 10 times over. Well, I don't know what a humidifier costs, but it can't be anywhere near that.
I must have missed something. What were the humidifiers for?
Well, it might have been Bob Hook that authorized them. And it was last, in the new courthouse, yeah. And I don't think anyone asked us.
When and where and
July, maybe. And I think construction engineers maybe brought up one of their own, and then Bob may have called Cornerstone Church and asked for another one.
I don't even remember anything about
No, I don't think he told us anything about it. But I remember just talking to Bob. And I said, "Where did this humidifier come from?" He said, "Cornerstone Church," and that's.
So is this a rental?
Well, I thought
bill or
I thought
is
they
there
donated it to us out there kindness, but apparently not.
It's a rental. $37 per day per dehumidifier.
It looked like what, a $500 dehumidifier, if that maybe.
No, they're more than they're commercial ones, but
It was only yeah,
let's see, the wrong person's getting the bill there.
yeah. Send it to the building authority.
oh, it is to Griggs County and the building authority.
Oh, okay.
It says Cooperstown Building Authority, which is not correct.
We say, please provide the rental agreement.
So are they still there or what's the
Evidently.
deal? So isn't storage like $50 a day?
Units need to be inspected and determined working order.
Well, the meter must still be spinning.
You mean they're being used yet?
Yeah. Evidently, I don't know if they're on, but
They're sitting there. I don't know if they're being used.
Yeah. Construction Engineers has in here a fan dehumidifier rental of $1,524 in their last billing, which is a more reasonable number, but,
How long did they have?
well, it doesn't say.
Construction engineers provided dehumidifiers also?
Yes, apparently. And I don't know why we got it from Cornerstone.
Well, I suppose after construction engineers left.
I thought, well, that could be, because there was still a dehumidifier out there. And I think the guy from John Steen was there that day, and I said, have you guys taken everything? And I said, well, what about this dehumidifier? He said, well, that's not ours, so.
134 days would be from October, November, December,
Yeah.
January, and February 5th would be
What date range do they got, the current or to the
February 5th.
relative last?
But you should only need a dehumidifier in, what, July, August, and September, maybe June, I suppose.
Well, I mean, but the cost is one thing, where was the authorization to put it in? That's what we need.
I don't recall it ever coming through here.
No, I think Bob did it probably on behalf of the building authority.
Well, I mean, we need to have Bob on the agenda for next meeting and have him explain this, what's going on. But I mean, they need to get back to the church right away.
Certainly.
I'd make a motion to approve the February vouchers with the exclusion of the $10,050 bill from Cornerstone Church.
Been moved by Sean to approve the February vouchers with the exception of the Cornerstone Community Church payment of $10,050. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion?
I did have a question on
Okay.
the 13,841 to Griggs County. Shouldn't there be a warrant number on that? Because normally in the bills, you always put a warrant number on.
Is this it? Yeah. Is there separate
No, that's the
one?
payroll warrant up there. You put, yeah, for the payroll, you put the warrant 6921 to 6953. But we kind of recently been messed up in a similar incident, and it just seems like there should be a warrant
There,
number.
there should have been, yep. You're right, that was a typo.
And who is it? Is it going to Citizens Bank?
I'm not entirely sure which bank that goes to. That's just payroll.
But it's not it goes from one bank to another is why you wrote a warrant.
Correct.
Okay.
But yeah, there should have been the check number there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's,
you're right.
and it's payable to citizens, really. To citizens account. You're transferring it over to citizens.
I'm not entirely sure
Oh,
how
all right.
Connie does that. I just write the check, I guess, so yeah.
You can depend on Connie.
We need to have more documentation on those inter-county transfers of money. That they need to be tied to the specific check that's written out of the account it goes into. So if we transfer money out of the bank forward account into one of the other bank accounts in order to pay something from the other bank account, it needs to be tied to this somehow, so that we can say the X amount of dollars was transferred to the other account in order to pay this bill.
Okay,
And
I think it should list the fund numbers. The fund number it's coming out of and the fund number it's going into.
okay.
but I'm not altogether so certain that we should be paying things out of those that account is basically an off-budget account. There's not budgeted money in there. We have to move budgeted money into it in order to fund it. And at least in the past, there's been occasions where there's been checks written out of there, but money not moved back into it.
Okay.
It kind of does away with the whole purpose of the transparency of county government, where you can see where everything is spent, and where we're using a shell account in order to disguise what's being done. And that's what's happening here. You look at it, and you just see, well, the money got moved from this account in the county to this account in the county, and what was it used for?
Okay.
So we need to have a
Trail.
trail, and we need to have Jamie or somebody have a look at it. Maybe there's a purpose it was done, maybe for the HIPAA accounts, but
Yeah, because that was payroll deductions and stuff like that coming out, and yeah.
But I'm not so certain that the original intent of having those accounts there, that we're using them for what the original intent was. I know in a couple of instances I know we haven't. So what do you guys think? I think something needs to be done to try and straighten this out.
Well, any money that leaves the county needs to come through here. If it's a transfer from one of those accounts into another county-owned account so that a check can be written to a vendor, that's going to cross this desk. If they're written out of there and they're just gone and we never even see them, that's wrong. Isn't that?
Well, even the way it is now, we don't know what that money's been spent for. We just know that the money's going to this other account. And we don't know what it's being used for. Even this money that's transferred here, we have no idea what it's being used for. We believe the auditor or the treasurer that it's being used for payroll, but we can't verify that without auditing the account. And in fact, when we did audit the account, not lately, but in the past, we found some huge discrepancies.
Do you guys want all that like the payroll stuff to come up here, like the vouchers and stuff? Is that what you would like, or?
I think, well, we need to check with the state's attorney to see exactly, from a legality standpoint, how much of that information is public information, because once it becomes before this body, anything presented here is public information. Are those wages public information? I think they are. Are the HIPAA funds, are the HIPAA accounts public information? Don't know. But again, when we have these accounts and the problem with these other accounts is they don't follow the letter of funding through the Century Code, where those checks are written on those other accounts are only with no safeguards. There's just one signature on it. So not only doesn't it have the system we have in place where there's a warrant and then or voucher and a warrant and then approval, we're having checks written without approval, without a second signature. And so basically the ability is we don't have exactly know where some of the money's going. And we don't have prior approval, and that's the other thing. We've found a number of instances where the check has been written out of one of these other accounts, and then the money was transferred at a later date. The approval was given to transfer the money was already spent. You couldn't have nothing about it anyway. So I think we need to straighten that out, because it's going to have to get straightened out, and if we're going to say that it was done wrong in the past, we can't very well go down the road and keep doing it wrong. So if we're finding fault with the way it was done, then we have to clean it up the way we're doing it too.
Yeah, and I thought the Century Code required on every warrant to list the fund number that it's being drawn from. That's something Jamie could tell us, but if that's the case, then we do need to put the fund number that this money is coming out of on the warrant.
Okay.
And I thought I read that the Century Code under warrants.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
So that would be a good thing to help track some of this stuff.
Well, that is on here, right?
On the warrant, I don't know. I to see the warrant, but do you put the fund number on the warrant?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
See, the way Samantha's doing it now is different than the way it was done before. Before, the warrant was printed out, and then it was okay, and then it was run through. Sometimes it was run through before. Now you're printing the warrant after the fact.
Correct.
Because you have auto sign on the computer that signs both signatures, right?
Right.
Okay. The original intent of the law was the warrant was handwritten, and then it was presented. The warrant was handwritten. It was presented to the commission. The commission okayed it, and it was given to the treasurer to sign. So you had the 3 checks and balances. Now, when they put the auto sign portion in the computer, the minute they print the warrant was supposed to be printed before, as the bill came in. It was printed. That became the ledger, basically. Here's the bills that are going to be presented to the county commission, unsigned warrants or vouchers, whatever. But now, if she prints them out,
Automatically writes a check.
they both get signed. The auto sign on there, and then the last step is to have the commission approve it. Well,
After the fact.
as we look back, not in Samantha's case, but as we look back, we have a bunch of checks that were already in the hands of the vendors by the time we approved it. So I recommend we do away with the auto sign portion of the program and get it back to the way it's supposed to be. That's really the only short of trying to find a way to run it through there again. You print the voucher, no, the warrant.
I print the
Which comes first, the voucher or the warrant?
the voucher.
Yeah, and then the warrant is the actual check.
The check. Yep.
Okay, so the way it's supposed to be, if you get a bill in, say you get a bill in here today, you would, for next meeting, you would print it out and you can put the date on it. Then you present that to the commission. The commission would okay it, and it would get presented to the treasurer, who puts her signature on it, which makes it legal and goes through. Then that way you have 3 checks and balances on it.
But we approve the vouchers
'Cause
before they become warrants.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. That's what I do. Is I
She
have
prints the voucher,
and
signs
then
it.
I know I have them all in the computer. We have them all in the computer, and then like now I'm going to email Lori and say, please take out the Cornerstone Church and run the checks. So then after you guys have okayed it, then she runs the checks, gives them to Christy, and then Christy sends them off. So that it's kind of what you're talking about.
It's kind of, but you lose sometimes the checks get off sequence now. And if you could write them as you get the bill, if you could write the check and have it right with it, and it would follow the process through. That's the way it was intended to work.
And the warrant could be printed out unsigned, right? And then later you could print out the signed warrant?
No, she signs it. When she prints the warrant, she signs it because the auditor is saying she's presenting this for payment.
But you could do that. You could put just your signature on it, print it out, then present it to the commissioners, we approve it, then it goes to the treasurer, and Connie puts her
Would have to have
signature on
the final
it
signature.
electronically.
Well, how would you put it on electronically? Run it through it again? It's easier just to sign the damn thing.
Well, we'll run through it again.
I know, but by the time you put it in the printer and get it lined up, it's easier
Well-
just to sign it.
Well, maybe you just, when you print it out the second time, it would just, I don't know. You could throw the first one away and keep the one with the 2
No, you
signatures.
can't throw checks down.
But the purpose of it is that if we have then a voucher that we don't approve, that becomes a record that it wasn't approved. It stays there. It stays with everything stays in sequence then. But how hard is it? I mean, we're talking in 2 weeks to sign that many checks. Come on. Who cares about the auto sign?
It's probably 60 payroll checks. I suppose it's 35 payroll checks
No,
twice a week.
half of that.
Well,
Half of them are ACH.
Yeah.
but you wrote checks 6921 to 6953.
Yeah, but that's coming out of the bank, so they still have to have a number, I guess.
But they had to be signed.
Yep, they're auto signed because Kelly has it on the program
But
where.
you'd have to sign them by hand if we.
No, she could leave her signature on it.
Oh,
But
is it-
she prints the voucher.
well, these have to be signed by both of them, right?
I know, but she could just sign one.
Okay.
She could print the voucher with the auditor's auto-signed signature on it.
Okay.
It comes to the county commission,
Okay.
and then it's been presented to the county commission. County commission approves it. When the county commission approves it, then the treasurer signs it,
Yeah,
and then it gets sent off.
Yeah, that would work.
Well, that's the way it's written. That's the way it's supposed to work. I mean, auto-sign wasn't invented when they
Yeah.
put this in place. Because right now you're trying to run a tally of give us the check numbers before the voucher numbers before they've actually been written. If something gets added in there and then it gets off, I've noticed that where you have some. So if you just printed a voucher when the bill was presented to you, and then you presented it to us, if it got denied, then it would just go in the pile until it got approved again.
Right.
Or it would go in a pile as never approved and voided and would have a record of that.
But then they'd have to go make a reversing entry in their software.
No, because the voucher is never the voucher with the auditor's signature on it is not an acceptable means of payment. It doesn't do nothing.
Yeah, that's,
It's only an instrument of payment with both signatures and the approval of the commission.
I know, but when they put that stuff in there and print them off, it hits the general ledger. They would have to make a reversing entry every time that happens.
We just have to avoid the check.
well, could you stop it somehow from hitting the general ledger until that second?
Well, you'd have to void the check.
There's no other way besides that?
I don't know of any, I guess. That's the only way that I've ever done is. That's why I've never written the checks before you guys approve them, because I don't want to have to go back and void checks and then it makes a mess of a bunch of stuff, so.
Do you guys already want to do it? I'm just telling you the way it's supposed to be done. And it was done that way for the checks and balances part of it.
Yeah, the century code was written before auto sign.
Absolutely.
100 years or something. Not quite.
Pretty sure it was before Kelly wrote the software too.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure the letters of the century code felt more accountable to the citizens than modern day politicians. But anyway, that's how it's supposed to be done, and that it might involve some more work, but it would certainly clarify some of these issues.
Doesn't seem like a bad thing.
Well, I just was pointing it out that when you brought up the vouchers and all the and
So you'll print out the warrants with just your signature, bring them up to the county commissioners for approval. When they are approved, then Connie Esslinger would sign them by hand. That's in the vote.
I can do that.
That's
problem is if they're unapproved, then she has to go do a reverse entry, which isn't a hard deal. I mean,
It's not that many.
no.
and then it still becomes a record. Then we have the voucher to go along with the reversed entry, which is
It's good.
as we look back, would have been real beneficial.
The more tracks we can leave.
The more tracks, the easier it is to figure things out, and I think it would be easier for you then, because when you get a bill, you could just write the voucher,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'd be right with it. But that's up to you guys.
Seems the right order.
That does.
Somebody may want to make a motion to that effect, just so if somebody questions Samantha, she can.
Do you want to finish the other motion first?
Oh, that's
Do we
right.
have one on the table?
First and a second on the vouchers.
Who
the
seconded
payment.
that?
Dale
Oh,
did, I think.
You're right. We had quite a lengthy discussion, didn't we?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to see who authorized dehumidifiers to be put in.
Well, I I think the motion was to subtract out. the
I made a motion to approve the February vouchers with the exception of the $10,050
Right.
Cornerstone one. Dale seconded it.
Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Okay.
Yeah, I'll move that the procedure be revised so that the auditor signs the warrant and then brings them up to the county commissioners for approval. Then after the county commissioners approve them, that they're brought down to the treasurer to be signed by hand and sent out.
Been moved by Ron to clarify the procedure with the vouchers and warrants to what he stated. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Second by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Wayne.
I had a request from Wade Singer from Interstate Engineering. He was wondering, Engineering, wondering if we had a utility permit because they were wanted to bore underneath our County Road 3 south of Sutton in Dover Township to put expansion on the water line.
Aren't they asking for an easement?
Well, they're just asking for a permit. To bore a hole underneath the pavement.
Since when do they install a utility plant without easement?
They want to ask you, I'm supposed to put it in the right away.
What's that?
I said if they want to ask the county commissioners to put it in the right away, I guess we've always, I think it's already in the right of way, the water line. But they're going to go across the road over to the other side with an expansion of that water line they put in a couple of years ago, I think it was.
I guess when I looked at this permit, it was my thought that the same thing could be done in an easement. And we don't really need a permit.
It's always been done as an easement.
Every county around us has a utility permit, right here, Steele County. Gives them a guideline, utilities should be placed a minimum of 42 inches below the surface. Utilities shall be placed below the surface of any blacktop road by means of a pipe or boring tool. All trenches and excavations shall be carefully backfilled as to eliminate sediment, and surface of the ground shall be returned to its original condition. Steele County shall not be responsible or liable for any costs in connection with placement or maintenance of the utility. If Steele County chooses to excavate in the area where the utility is located, this is another good thing to have. The grantee shall move the utility at its own expense and upon grantor's request to do so. No above-ground structures shall be placed in the county road right away without written permission of the grantor. And the grantee shall pay a fee as follows. Steele County to pay $300 for each time they cross a road or section line. And then I copied this from, he sent me a copy of Barnes County's permit, and I just changed the name to say Griggs County, 405 15th Street. And wherever it says Steele County, Barnes County, I put in Griggs. And this is what Barnes County also uses.
This is probably in addition to an easement, I would imagine, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They already have, they have to have an easement.
Right, this is
In
just
order to
this, right.
But they want to have, and we've always wanted in the past to have some document that says, okay, we let them bore through our road. if something happens, then they have some liability. They're gonna bore a hole through, put a pipe through, and then put the water line inside the, you know, so if it does rupture, it shouldn't wash our road up.
So this is in addition to an easement, this is just basically
This is just
the conditions of the easement, basically.
This is just to allow them to dig a hole in our right of way. Go down, drill across through and put it.
We don't own the land under that road, so we,
Yeah, but we own the road, and if the road washes out and somebody goes into that washout,
I get that.
yeah, that's why you want to
But
have
we can't
permission.
give them an easement.
Well, if we have so much right of way, yes, that's our right of way. We
No,
have
it's
50
not.
feet of easement on
It's
each
not
side.
your right away. You
Permit-
have an easement.
permit
You have an
easement.
easement.
We have a permit easement.
Yeah.
So the easement's attached to the property, that's my point.
Okay.
We don't own the property, so the easement is gonna be signed by the landowner, not by the county.
But if it's done in the right of way, the landowner never signs the easement. Well, not anything I've ever had
In
done.
the past, if we had like when MLGC put in
Yeah,
they had to ask the commissioners if they could put it in the right of way.
yeah, and then the property
We
owner,
allowed them to put it in.
yeah, and then the property owner never got a choice over it. I mean, I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
The water line going into Red Willow is in the road ditch because I didn't want it out in the field, and I never got, there was no easement. They said, well, we don't have to talk to you about it then, just put it in the ditch and it's done.
I mean, if you want to take away the fees or whatever, that's up to you. You know, because I can just change it. I just give you that example. This was given to me by Tim Marsh. He also works for State Engineering.
Yeah, well, there, maybe we look at it and see what it says.
Okay, that's
I make a motion that we pass on the utility permit agreement to state's attorney for analysis. Opinion.
Been moved by John to present this proposed permit to the state's attorney for his review. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
email from Jimmy Tanksman, part of the Association of Counties. We had worked out a deal to lease John Deere tractors, meaning the Mulholland lease program went away, and they negotiated some terms and stuff. It's in these pages. I did go down and talk to Cooper Implement just to see if they were aware of it, or if they were interested. They had heard some things about it, and they're checking into it more right now. They'd really be interested in letting us lease a tractor. Because they can resell them. They would like, if we did it, my choice would be to do it for a year with a loader, because they said a lot of farmers like the 150 horse size tractor, and the loader is $2 an hour for the loader. It's $17.60 for the tractor for 400 hours for 12 months. So it'd be approximately $7,840 per year. $17.60 plus the $2 an hour. And I was thinking we could keep it from year to year, but they said they would prefer to give a new one each year. That way they can sell them.
So what, 400-hour lease?
Yeah. If it's over $400, then you pay 1.5 times that, but
You'd be hard pressed
you
to put
wouldn't
that
pay
many hours on a
$400.
tractor.
He said what they would ideally like to do would be from June till June. And we would have it through the winter, which this winter we didn't need one. Or the winters we
What
would.
would you put on a tractor for hours in the past?
Well, I think, you know, we had 2 tractors and we didn't use them a lot because we didn't want to use up all the hours, but it'd probably be a couple $100, you know, total between the 2. We basically use them for mowing and sometimes up here, hauling tree branches and stuff like that.
You're
Loaded
looking at,
culverts.
you're looking at
loaded
just
disc.
one tractor?
Just be one now, yeah. Pulled the disc when we reshaped shoulders and stuff.
But you don't really have a use for a loader, do you?
Yeah, we used it, like I said, we used it for like tree branches, like if we go down the river and we cut a bunch of trees, we don't have a grapple fork on our loader, hay loader, which is really handy to do that. It'd be worth more to them too to have a loader on there for $2 an hour. That's pretty cheap. I think a loader is like 30-some thousand per ton loader.
There's a price going recently for 17.
Did you buy it?
I don't want to spend that much on the whole tractor. But so if you only use it a couple $100 a year, you're looking at closer to $40 an hour for hours of use.
Now, I don't know, it says 400 hours minimum, so that's probably your minimum.
That's what I was gonna ask, do you get billed for 400 hours no matter what?
Whether you turn the key on or not, you're going to pay that.
Yeah.
Sublease it to some ranchers.
I read the lease again.
It says it's available to water boards, soil conservation district cities.
Commissioners?
We're all on the water board, right? Or weed board, Dan.
Weed board, yeah, I think weed board.
Gotta move them bales to spray the leafy spurge around them.
We use it for, you know, moving bales when we have to spray.
I guess we'd have to have a use for $400 or it wouldn't be a very good deal.
Well, if you can use it that, it's a really good deal if you can use it that much, but if you don't,
How come Griggs County's not on the list?
I didn't know if I dared to be on the list. I put in for the New Holland tractors, but I didn't put in for these. Because they were talking $12,000 to $15,000 or something like that. They're thinking of per year of lease. And so I didn't put in for it. In that email, you can find it.
yes,
Says we have inked a deal with John Deere for county agencies other than local governments to rent tractors directly from the local dealers at the rates included. We attached the agreement. I know your county didn't initially sign up for the program, but the agreement extends beyond those that signed up. So you still have an opportunity to participate if your county's interest. So that we can extend this agreement to county soil districts, water boards, park boards, cities, townships, or any other local governments. So if you hear from someone that this may benefit, you can certainly share. Thanks, Jenny Benz from Association of County Engineers.
And we have the option to re-up 5 additional years afterwards, correct?
Yeah, I thought it would, you'd have the same, keep the same tractor, you know, for 5 years, but then of course I was concerned with the tires, with some of that stuff if you, but he said no, they would just renew it every year.
Does the price change from year to year then on that? Or
Be
it's
locked into that
locked
same.
in?
I think it says that in, I don't know if it says it's locked in, but. But Jamie should also look that over, I think. I talked to Kent Dick this morning, he called, he went down in Texas or someplace where he got back. But they were interested and he was looking more into it and, up to you. We did get some special funding back in 2012 and 13 from the Senate bill to help alleviate some expenses, and that was because of the snow and stuff like that. It's a total of $405,000. We spent $135,000 out of it, and so there's still $270,000. Remaining amount of money that we thought.
So the funds are available for
The funds are available a year at a time. And if we don't like it, I guess you don't have to go for 5 years. You could just rescue it like that. Yes, maybe you can buy a tractor. I don't know. Should have one.
I could see it would be pretty useful a lot of times, but they sit like terrible much. Same thing happens when I have a tractor. It doesn't get as used as much as you would think it should be.
Like when we had just 250 hours, we didn't know. I didn't know, so that how much we dared use it till the fall when it came to mowing. Well, what are you going to mow, or was everybody going to mow, or, you know, so last year we didn't do a lot of mowing, but it was $1,800 we got in mowing.
Well, is that another option in your lease period? Could it be September, August? To September, August? Or would that help you out with determining the usage on it?
I got that figured out on the road.
Oh,
It looks like there's quite a few counties that are interested, huh?
Your recommendation is we do one tractor, like a
Yeah.
60, 150 or something?
Just one tractor for the year contract.
And there's money in your budget for that?